repetition of the purpose of this video today is to let you know who I am. First thing is, I am not cutting my hair. I'm not changing the way I dress. I refuse to wear a suit. I am gay. I've had 2 boyfriends most of my life. I currently got legally married, thank God. It's finally legal in America. I've had some kinky sex. I have tried drugs through the younger years of my life. I am broke as shit. I have a judgment against me from some bitch down there in Florida, but I can tell you I paid a fine with the USDA, and that is nothing but a civil fine, ladies and gentlemen. That does not mean that I was accused or convicted of any kind of animal cruelty thing. I built one of the biggest facilities and the nicest facilities for exotic animals in this country as far as a private individual goes. I'm Joe Exotic, and don't forget, I am now stepping my foot in the ring to run for president. And this is all paid for by the committee of Joe Exotic Speaks for America.
Oh, whoa. Careful with that copyrighted music, Joe Exotic. Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm UNIRock, and we're going to be looking at talking about the Tiger King for a minute, because I got lucky today. Last night, I decided to watch the Tiger King, well, yesterday, and I've literally been hooked on it. And I've dived into some of the mystery surrounding the Tiger King, because that's all this damn thing is. It's a mystery wrapped in a mystery, wrapped in a ball of crack, wrapped in a whole bunch of, like, liquor, wrapped in another ball of meth, wrapped in a bunch of bullets with a gun bent around it, wrapped in another layer of mystery. There is so much mystery and strangeness and craziness and rock and roll and drugs and insanity in this story, and I love every freaking second of it. If you haven't seen the Tiger King, you're crazy. I'm just gonna straight say it. If you haven't seen the Tiger King on Netflix, you are nuts. You are missing out. And they got a new episode coming next week, according to people close to the whole thing, but there are unanswered questions from the documentary. This documentary that started 5 years ago and ended up, like, morphing into another documentary, so they just made 7 parts to this huge documentary, and each part is its own thing. So what I did was I started to look deeper into the mystery of whom he accuses is a murderer. I looked deeper into the mystery of how he basically was ratted out to the feds. But in all reality, if you listen to the guys who locked him up now, they've almost changed their minds because they didn't get what they wanted out of the deal. And I've looked deeper into figuring out the truth, or at least the perceived truth from the different people involved. And there's only one way to do it. There's only one way for me to get to the core of this story. So I've got a multi-tiered plan. I've got a multi-faceted plan to be able to get to the truth of the Tiger King story. And the way we are going to do it, we already have one interview on UNIRock2, my main YouTube channel. We have one interview already set up. We're going to be interviewing a member of the cast, a pretty big member of the cast, in my opinion, of the Lion King. I almost said the Lion King. A pretty big member of the cast of the Tiger King from Netflix. Somebody that was there throughout the entirety of when Joe was running the animal sanctuary up until the very end of the entire thing. We are going to have one of the best interviews, in my opinion, that we could possibly get next week on UNIRock2. So in order to prepare for it, I'm going to want to get your opinions. I get your opinions on any story, so I'm, of course, going to get your opinion on the Tiger King. I've got a video releasing on UNIRock2 in the morning. It's just memes. It's just these really funny memes on the internet that people have been putting together about the documentary. So we're going to put that out first. And then either tomorrow night or the next day, I'm going to actually have a discussion of the, I'll call it the main mystery at the heart of the Tiger King story. Which is, if you've seen the Tiger King, you know what that mystery is. Did Carol... Is it Carol Baskets? I'm never going to get her name right. I'm going to always have to look and see what her name is. It did Carol. What is her last name, damn it? Carol Baskins. That's why I said baskets. That's why I thought baskets. Did Carol Baskins do it? Did she disappear her husband, or was it some kind of... it is a staff member. Yeah, I don't want to announce who it is yet, just because I don't want them to get mad at me for doing that, but I'll tell you as soon as humanly possible. I will tell you this. I have absolute confirmation that we're going to be interviewing a very key, not someone that only had like a minute or some shit. They were throughout the entire documentary from beginning to end. We are going to be interviewing them on UNIRock2, and we're going to be getting a really candid type of... We're going to get an interview where we can ask the questions that we really want to ask to somebody who has all the information, that witnessed it firsthand. So through their eyes, we're going to know what's up. So I will tell you who I'm interviewing as soon as I can, y'all. I wasn't even going to announce it tonight, but I was so excited. And there's been so much hype behind this documentary. I couldn't help myself from telling you that I got an interview of a cast member of the Tiger King. But, you know, I want to interview the Tiger King himself. But I'm going to have to wait until this legal shit's over. There's no hope. I will get an interview with the Tiger King. Whether he gets out or whether he stays in, we're going to do it. Also, we're not just interviewing a cast member of the Tiger King, confirmed at 100%, and we're not just going to talk to the Tiger King himself way down the line, but whether I have to call the jail or whatever I got to do. But the other thing we're going to do, well, before that, we have a few of our viewers who are near some of these facilities, and we are going to get some video and some discussion and some behind-the-scenes looks at the actual facility of Carol and even maybe some of the others. Now, I'm doing this because, well, MD, you just might be right. You just might be right. Because also, let's just say it like this. There are a couple people that were at the facility for a long time, you know, and that were in the beginning of the doc throughout to the end. I want to talk to every one of them, and I'm almost positive that I can, especially after the first interview, get a hold of a few of the other people to come on. And it's just going to be excellent, dude. It's going to be freaking excellent. Now, if you haven't seen Tiger King, a lot of you guys that watch me have taken my advice on movies and TV shows and video games, and I haven't let you down. I haven't let you down yet when I recommend one. Watch The Tiger King. Please watch The Tiger King. You need it. I needed it. I needed it. Because it's not just a damn documentary. It's not just a TV show. It's the lives of several people who were just against the law, against, you know, they were fighting for what they saw as their rights and what they had the right to do. And even though half of them ended up in prison, others ended up dead, others ended up having their lives completely changed forever, ruined, all these crazy things. Even though that did happen, it's one of those stories that goes down in history. It really does. Like, you cannot lessen, you cannot take away from it. You know, you could call it the batshit craziest damn documentary that ever existed, and it wouldn't take a damn thing away from it. You could say that it is pure trailer park, crack cocaine, methamphetamine race car, and you wouldn't be taking anything away from it. You wouldn't even be adding to it. You'd be accurately describing it at that point. It is my assistant's favorite show that he's ever seen. I said it was your favorite, ding dong. Busy loves this show. He's been watching it nonstop on a loop while smoking meth and screaming, "I love you, Joe Exotic. I love you, Joe Exotic." It's kind of creeping me out. Busy, you're creeping me out. Okay, fine. You're going to go visit Joe in jail next week, whatever. He's obsessed. So anyway, you know what I'm going to do right now, because you know what I love doing. I'm going to tell you how I feel about the different mysteries or the different controversies that are brought up in this live real quick, because it's late, because I've been working on shit all day ever since I watched this thing, dude. Soon as I started watching that thing, I went into video production gear. You know me. I'm like, okay, work time, let's go. So I don't have a lot of time tonight. You know, it's late. We're going to have a small audience because I didn't start until midnight. But I'm telling you guys, It don't matter if you're quarantined. As long as you've got the Tiger King documentary, you won't be bored. You know what I'm saying? Oh, damn. Torn Edge Designs just said there was actual stuff from Jeff Lowe on Twitter today saying that somebody does know where the body is, and he @signed NBC regarding an interview. I don't trust that guy, though, Torn Edge. I don't trust you, Jeff Lowe. You motherfucker. You better stay away from me, Jeff Lowe. I would love to have an interview for you, though. I would love to have my assistant interview, because I'll just yell at you. Yes, you can do it if I get a hold of Jeff. Anyway, I don't like Jeff, bro. I don't like, the sleaziest sleaze bags in the whole story, and we're talking about crack, meth, amphetamine, cocaine-amine, race car-amine stuff. And I'm still saying that the scummiest people in that documentary are the ones that went to the feds to try to get Joe put behind bars, dude. You see, you should have to actually seek out a hitman and hire it to go to prison. You shouldn't have somebody come to you, get mad at you, want to take everything you own, work their way in close to you, and then every night bring it up, look it up on the computer for you, find you a guy to do it, get it all set up for you, and do everything except hand the money over. That shouldn't count in federal court, in my opinion. That's entrapment like a motherfucker, dude. Oh, could you imagine that if he gets out? Oh, could you imagine if he gets out of prison? Oh, my goodness. But I know some people don't like Joe Exotic. And, I think Joe Exotic has done some really bad things. I completely think he has. I think if Joe got out, I would support Joe Exotic if he got out of prison if one thing happened. One thing. So, in order for me to tell you, I'm going to break out my assistant's famous 1980s slow jazz saxophone synthesizer compilation, and I'm going to break down how I feel about Tiger King live. Then we're going to upload a video tomorrow with the memes. Then we're going to have another video coming out about the mystery, and we're going to have another video on Tiger King where I review the series and tell you how I feel about the whole thing before we do an interview with one of the really key cast members, which I'll be announcing at the end of the weekend. Anyway, all of that before we play some video games and chill at the end of the night. What is today? Saturday or Sunday? Sunday. All that. No, today's Saturday. Yeah, it's after midnight. It's Saturday night. All that tonight. Saturday night, April 5th of 2020, broadcasting from the East Coast of the glorious United States of America. I'm your host, UNIRock. I got my assistant, the proud crackhead, Busy the Baker. I said proud. You keep repeating things I say. This is UNIRock Live. Play it, Busy. Get the sax out. My God, that is so pretty, Busy. Keep tickling those bells or whatever the hell it is. Okay, they're bells. I said that. Again, repeating me. Damn, Busy, getting funky. It's really crazy because Joe is sitting in prison, and he knows he has a lot of fans now. He's got a lot of people that don't like him, too, but he's the type of guy, I just think he's the type of guy that don't give a shit if people don't like him, I think he's the kind of guy where if you don't like him, he's just like, okay, fuck off, but if you do like him, that's when he cares, right? He just seems like that kind of guy. So here, look. I never play the 80s extended play EP record from Busy the Baker and the Hard Buns. I never play that record. I don't know where that came from, but Busy the Baker and the Hard Buns. I never play that record while I actually talk to you, but tonight, in honor of Joe Exotic, we're going to do that. So the documentary starts out, you think it's going to be some crazy documentary about some tigers, because the dude raises tigers. It ends up turning into a scandalous animal abuse discussion before it turns into a murder mystery, before it turns into spies and espionage and the CIA and the FBI and animal DEA bullshit setting somebody up for a murder that they kind of aren't being set up for because they kind of did want somebody to be murder for hired, but then again, they didn't get murder for hired. In the end, it turns into him, and this is the most, like, ironic part of the whole story. They've got these, in the very beginning, you've got these video clips of Joe saying that cats, big cats, leopards and tigers and lions shouldn't be locked up. They should be roaming free, and that they shouldn't be captives. Got me? And then he treats them as captives and becomes rich off of exploiting those animals for 20 years. Until, at the very end of the story, I'm going to try not to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't seen it, but he goes back as he's sitting in prison, and you could tell he realized it where he went wrong. And he says to himself while he's sitting in the prison cell, he says, I've got enough files to take down the entire baby lion cub trading underground. Why in the hell don't Joe call the FBI, Joe call PETA, and get these animals some help? And he does. Now, what they don't tell you inside the documentary is after the documentary ended and Joe did call the FBI and PETA, what's the other dude's name? What's his name, Rachel? Oh, I got it. After Joe starts working with PETA, right? Doc Antle's park gets raided. Did police raid Doc Antle's zoo? The feds did. Because thanks to Joe Exotic from prison. And the rest of these guys, where there are people out there saying that, oh, another thing that ended up happening is once the documentary ended, you know the guy who flipped on Joe? You know, y'all know their names more after I watch it again, but the guy who, not the Chucky doll guy who went to the feds, but his friend they ratted out Joe, right? Well, that friend who was building this multi-million-dollar park ended up losing the entire deal. He screwed over his partner and all that, and like he's not, even though he still is trying to run a zoo, it's all falling apart for him. I watched an update video. Now, these are the things I'm going to show you. On UNIRock2 for the next couple days, I'm going to be showing you these updates with some video evidence, with some testimony and other things, so you can get updated on what happened after the documentary. Now, here's my point, though. I do think that the entire documentary, starting with Joe as a younger person, loving these tigers, and then ended up like being corrupted into breeding them and torturing them and everything else that this whole system encapsulates, I do think it's almost poetic justice. He goes into a cage, right? Karma comes back. He's locked these animals. He's bred them so that there are all these tigers and lions that get put into cages thanks to him for all these years. He gets sentenced to all these years in prison at the end of the story. And instead of just sitting in prison and rotting away for nothing, he stands up and says, I'm going to help these tigers and I'm going to rat these guys out and I'm going to bring this whole thing down. And I think what we're going to see is like whether or not that becomes successful. But then he also sued the police, and he's probably going to go for an appeal and try to get it all taken back. You got me. So this stupid shit got me hooked. Thanks, Uni. I've gotten everybody hooked on this show after I saw it. Remember, I was telling you guys I wasn't going to watch it. I'm like, I don't got time for another Netflix all SJW crazy shit documentary. I don't got time for, ain't nobody got time for that. But after I saw the first episode, bro, I got everybody I talked to completely hooked on this show, and you will love it. You will thank me. If I'm the reason that you pick up this show, you will thank me by the end of it, because it's that good. I mean, my God, how did all of these things come into play? There are some really crazy moments in this documentary, guys. There's a spot where this guy shoots himself in the head in front of another person right in the office of this zoo. And it comes out of nowhere. It's so unexpected. You feel like you're watching it yourself, even though you can't see it. You can see people who see it and watch their facial expressions, and it makes your stomach just sink when you think about what happened. But it's crazy shit, dude. Like, this whole thing has so many twists and turns. But the main thing we're going to talk about for a minute, and then I'm loading up some video games. I'm chilling for a little bit, and then I'm getting ready for some... I am excited to make content about this show. I'm excited to work with the people in my Discord that like to work with me on videos. I'm excited to work with them. I'm excited to get their ideas, to pick their brains. I'm excited to get the viewers that are down in Florida and other places to help me go to these parks and get me some video recordings and get me maybe some interviews set up even. And I'm excited just to do this. This is like, I'm so happy I found this thing, because when I restarted, I took a break from live streaming and started to work on edited videos to finish out some stories. And I went back to live streaming. I went back to like running the channel as normal. I needed a topic. I needed something to light that fire under my ass. And you know what? This is the perfect damn thing. It's the perfect thing to light the fire under my ass to put out some damn, some good content around this. Okay, but the one thing we're going to talk about, I don't know if I said it or not, I might have lost track of what I was saying, is that whether or not Carol Baskins killed her husband, the guy who disappeared. So I think that's where we need to go. Let's go. All right. Everybody that watches this documentary ends up thinking that Carol Baskins killed her disappeared husband. So I think it's episode 3. Episode 3 or episode 4 is The Secret. And the secret is that everybody in the animal world around these guys, they all say the same thing about one of the biggest detractors of what they do. There's somebody who has their own animal park. They also make money out of people going to that animal park, and a lot of them see her as a hypocrite because she is fighting people keeping these cats captive, yet she has her own zoo and park that she makes a lot of money from that keeps cats captive. Got me? That used to themselves breed and buy the cats. So... I know, Lisa. I know. Busy would love that. So listen, the Carol Baskin seems like a good person now. Okay, I think she's figured it out that you can't breed these cats. You can't. Did you know that there are something like 8,000 to 10,000 cats in the United States, and there's only 5,000 or less in the wild? And that's the truth. They're about to be extinct. Even after they go extinct in the wild, no matter what happens, I guarantee you they will still be pets in people's homes and in their backyards. So the problem is that it's inevitable for these animals that are that big, that get that big, to basically, in order to be a giant animal, you have to command 400 square miles. That one cat or a group of cats command 400 or 40 square miles. I can't remember. And they have to eat. They have to roam. If they're locked up, it's not the same. It's like putting a fucking killer whale into a SeaWorld. And it's one of those sad realities when the humanity starts to expand so far that we are reaching every last corner of the globe and there's no room for any type of natural wildlife, right? So anyway, Carol is looked at as a hypocrite due to the fact that she is doing the same thing Joe's doing, but she's trying to fight Joe. She's trying to fight all of them. Now, she claims that she doesn't breed them, and the only reason she has cats is because a lot of people go and buy these tigers for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and then they keep them in their home as pets. Then they start to get bigger. It only takes like 6 weeks. You only have like 6 weeks when they're cute and cuddly, and they start getting bigger, and then they could kill you easily with one swipe of their claw. That's when people dump them. It's when people either kill them, like let them go, give them away. They just abandon them. They can't take care of them. So Carol lets people bring cats that they don't want to her property, and so that those cats can die. She's been doing it for a long time, and she tries to give them the most open space, the best life that they can have to live in captivity before they pass away. That's her claim. The past, the history of everyone is represented in this documentary, and it goes from Carol basically getting with this guy, and that's the person that started breeding the cats. And he did breed cats. He did buy the cats, her ex-husband. But back in, I think it was 1998, he disappeared. He just plain disappeared. And when you're watching this documentary, and again, everything I'm telling you is just really loose, and most people know this anyway if you know of any of these people, so you're really just getting a basic rundown of the information. I'm not going to just spoil any of it, but... Oh, okay. Long story short, Carol's husband disappears around 1998. 5 years later, she files a death certificate and inherits all of his money. There are some very strange things that happen, though. So everybody that watches the show ends up making their mind one way or the other. You either think that Carol didn't kill her husband, but maybe had something to do with it. I haven't talked to a single person who thinks that she's innocent, but I know some people do. But a lot of people think she's straight up guilty. So the only thing we have to base our minds on are a few circumstances. So let me describe some of them. The first thing we learn is that the husband's attorney and his ex-wife and his family members and his kids all say that leading up to his disappearance, that he came to them and told them that he was scared of her. She had been threatening to kill him and that he was going to leave her. He'd even told his attorney the day he was going to leave her. Guess what day that was? It was the day he went missing. And the circumstances around him going missing are basic. And you have to watch this. If you don't watch it, please don't draw an opinion just off of what I'm saying. I've only seen it once. So once again, you need to watch it. I'll pull up a webpage in a minute and we'll go through it. But anyway, the circumstances of him disappearing is around 3 a.m. Carol is in town and her car breaks down, and she calls her brother. Her brother is the sheriff. So Carol and the sheriff, before even knowing that the husband's disappeared, are at 3 a.m. in the middle of town with these weird circumstances happening. Ironically, that's the day that his van, the husband's van, winds up at an airport, and he is just gone. Now, none of his planes are gone. No plane left, right? Nothing left. There's no registered, flight leaving or anything like that. Now, she says this. She says that he liked to go and have planes that weren't registered because he never got his pilot license, and he liked to fly them around, and he probably wrecked his plane when he was going to Costa Rica, because he used to go to Costa Rica once a month. I think it was Costa Rica. I don't know. And like look for cats and shit like that. So anyway, she makes up this excuse. There's literally an excuse for every circumstance that comes out of her that perfectly fits her defense, which bothers me. Also, she did something else in the wee hours of the morning the day that her husband disappeared. Her husband didn't let her handle his money. He had somebody that he'd known his entire life that he trusted, who was his executor of his estate or whatever, right? And she handled the finances. He employed her because he was a millionaire. Long story short, though, the morning that the husband disappears, The wife goes and gets the will and the power of attorney out of the office of the lady who is the executor on their property, tells that lady not to come to work, turns the power off to the facility, takes out these documents, and then when the police and when other places need those documents, she hands documents that the executor claims aren't the documents. They're different. This is major because these documents claim that he signed it, one, and that Carol gets everything. Even if he, in the state of his disappearance or death, my wife gets everything. Now, his kids were going to get the majority, and Carol was only going to get like 10% if he died. Because she was his mistress turned wife. He cheated on his ex-wife to be with this new woman, the woman that we're talking about that runs these, that all the other cat breeders hate. Who's trying to shut down all the other cat breeders. Now, it's really strange. Luckily, his lawyer, the man who disappeared, his lawyer is the one who's giving us like the entire story and all these different pieces, okay? And he says, one, that he was told, also the husband went to court to file a restraining order on his wife. The lady we're talking about, it didn't go through because there was no physical violence, but because she threatened to kill him, he went and filed a restraining order. So there is evidence of the fact that she threatened to kill him. There's evidence of all these things happening, and it is entirely abnormal to have your will or your death papers state something like, in the state of my death or disappearance. I think it even said disappearance first. That's not normal, okay? So basically, it's almost a proven thing that Carol forged the document so that she would inherit everything and took it away from those kids. So we've got a woman who basically, her husband conveniently disappears right when he's going to leave her and right when she is about to lose the majority of what she has being with him. This is why I do believe she is the number one suspect. Am I saying she's guilty? No, I said she's the number one suspect in my book. If I'm looking at the story from the outside, as I do with many mysteries on my channel, if I'm looking at this story from the outside, 100%, I think she's the top suspect. I don't think anybody else is even a suspect. I think it's just her. So the two options to me, a very, very, very rare and weird coincidence happened that killed him out where no one can find his body and nobody knows where he is. He died, which I don't believe, or she killed him and disposed of his body, either by feeding it to the lions, tigers, or by putting it in a septic tank or putting it out on their like 400 or 40 acre property in Florida in the swamplands. So yes, I'm saying it wouldn't be hard for her to do this. The alligators alone would tear it to shreds, you know? So this millionaire wants to leave his wife, right? This millionaire wants to leave his wife. And instead of him getting to on the day he plans to go, he disappears and she inherits the entire fortune when she stood to gain just a small percentage. It's too much. Not only that, his children are afraid of her. Other people are afraid of her, and she seems very ruthless. She is the nicest lady you've ever laid eyes on, but it all seems fake. From a body language perspective, trying to understand, you know, why she says what she says, why her mind goes to the places that her mind goes to. In my opinion, she is very scary. Well, the police have looked into his Costa Rican connections, and there's nothing there. You know, it would be pretty hard for this guy. He couldn't have flown a private plane to Costa Rica. I don't know if it was Costa Rica, but wherever the hell he went, right? He couldn't have flown a private plane there. He took commercial flights every time he went, and he didn't have a plane that disappeared that day, so we really can't say he flew away, right? If he would have flown away, he would have taken a commercial flight like he always did. If he would have taken a smaller plane, he would have had to refuel, I think it was 5 times just to get like close to it. So it would just be a very long, arduous, dangerous flight, especially if you're not a very well-trained pilot, and he wasn't even a pilot. So it's really rare. I think that she made up the story that he flew planes a lot because he didn't have a pilot's license. Why would he risk going to jail and getting in all that damn trouble just so he could go hop in a plane when he had the money to pay somebody to fly the little plane? Nobody's going to risk their life doing that. It's just craziness. But that is her excuse. That's why it's being brought up. It's her excuse. She has an excuse for everything. Also, her diary is out there. We are going to get her diary. We are going to get other people's testimony. We are going to talk to the people that knew them. We're going to interview some of them on my channel because we're going to do a video about the disappearance of this rich man. It's going to be a good one. I don't know if you've ever been to my main channel. I don't know if you've ever seen my Boston's Vanishing Men video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I have a propensity to do very complex videos about murders and disappearances and strange circumstances around these types of things. And I give a lot of details. I'm really thorough in how I do it. I'm going to give you a video that's just as thorough as the Boston's Mysterious Vanishing Men video, and it's going to be on this disappearance. I'm working on it. As soon as I got done watching this thing, I started working it. I got Rachel helping. I got the Discord helping. We're going to knock this damn thing out of the park. All right? We're going to try to explore we've even got people on the ground in the location that can help out. And all of them are willing to help. It's going to be freaking badass. We got a vision. We got a plan. We got a thing we're working towards. We are going to document all the strangeness around this, all the weirdness, all the excuses. Because it turns out that Carol met her husband while walking down the street at night after walking out of her. She was married, he was married, and they both were in the middle of the night out on a street. She was walking, he was driving. He picked her up. They ended up staying together ever since until he disappeared. So is there anything that would explain him disappearing without her killing him or being involved? In my opinion, I haven't seen anything that... I would love to give it to her. I'd love to have another possibility, but there is none. I think this is episode 3 or episode 4 of The Tiger King. It's called The Secret. You need to watch it. Oh my God, it's so good. Let me see if I can find ourselves a video. Carol Baskin's husband. Let me find a video that can kind of sum it up. A short video. Can't do ET. Here we go.
I potentially just watched the most fucked up thing I've ever watched in the entire world. Like, in a good way. Like, in a good way.
Yeah, in a
right?
good way.
Not coming, rubbing balls in my face.
But, bruh. So, I'm just sitting over here baffled that
Can you get to the point?
tigers, lions, and bears, and wolves.
All right, you're not talking about Carol Baskins. You just clickbaited me. Okay, that's the issue with the Tiger King. You're going to get clickbaited on every video you click other than mine. Florida sheriff believes Don Lewis, whose cold case was in the Tiger King, was, you know what?
By now, the entire country has seen your tweet, and most of the country by now has probably seen the Netflix series Tiger King. I just looked at your tweet. It's got more than 3,000 retweets, and it's gone as far as People Magazine and the New York Times and everywhere. I know the case was never formally closed, but it's sort of being reopened right now, so to speak. You're the
Pramink has already done a video on this? When did Pramink do a video? Is it new? Oh, it's an older video? Oh, that's a good video. I did a video on this guy. Here we go.
My Mama's got some treats for you. Oh, here, kitty, kitty. You can't find this taste in the zoo. Oh, here, kitty, kitty.
Oh, Amy, you'll have plenty of time. It's going to take me a while to get this done, so you got plenty of time. Trust me, when you watch, I don't know anybody who hasn't watched the first episode of Tiger King and just been like hooked. I'm telling you, it's that good. It really is, because it's a true story. It's not written. It's not fake. It's not like fiction. It's real, and it's just drama. That it's not some type of drama that's like that loose shit that you're just like, ah, fuck all that. It's like, how does this keep happening? And it's every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes for 7 episodes.
Nuts before. I'm the most dangerous, exotic
Oh my god, I've seen this video from Pramik a long time ago.
owner on this planet right now.
Hi guys, welcome back. Today we have a wild one, quite literally, because there's tigers involved and they're kind of wild, you know? So I was just cruising the internet, like I always do, looking for topics, and I stumbled upon this really interesting story that just happened. And it's probably going to be my favorite story of the year so far because it's so great. It involves cowboys, some bopping country music, we got some cute animals, and an attempted murder. There's something for everyone. It's such a fun adventure. I'm excited. We're just going to jump into it because I talk too much, so I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, follow my Twitter, sign up for my newsletter. I don't have a newsletter. I lied, all right? Don't
It said Twink News.
ground me, Mom. I'm sorry.
It said Twink News, dude.
So this is Joe
Twink
Exotic.
News
No, that's
Report.
not his real name. It's his stage name, but I like it, so that's what we're going to call him. Joe runs a channel on YouTube called Joe Exotic TV, which mainly focuses on showing off all the animals in the he remained under the watch of many animal activist groups. One of these groups, and key component to the story, was Big Cat Rescue, founded by Carol Baskin. So over the years, Joe grew a major disdain towards these animal activists because they were inevitably trying to get him shut down. That was their goal, and obviously Joe doesn't want to be shut down, so he started getting angry at these people.
But if you're an animal rights person, try and ruin my reputation or hurt my animals, and you try and come into this facility, this is what you're going to be greeted with.
For some reason though, out of all the activists watching and criticizing his park, Joe made Carol Baskin his prime target in his hatred for these groups. I assume it's because one of Big Cat Rescue's main goals is to end the sale of big cats, and that's what Joe was making a lot of money doing.
Now, that's true. And the main thing that I have an issue with isn't the fact of him like giving these big cats a home and letting people come see them, because that's what you all think at first. We all think, who cares? They're going extinct. They need to breed. And if he's going to give them a place to live, feed them, and sustain it by people visiting, is that better not than them going extinct in the wild? It would be. But because of how cute they are when they're born, they breed them and they need a bunch of babies. Because the babies are what bring people in to sit down and actually play with the tigers. Then they go to malls and they show the babies. They go to weddings. They just have all these things that go on with we're going to crash, y'all, blah, 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 blah. Oh, good night, my dude. Have a great one. I'll see you next time, man. Thanks for being here, man. The babies. They need the babies, so that it incites them to breed them. Now, they, of course, want to breed them, but they need to have a bunch of them because then it maximizes the money, and they only have like 2 to 6 weeks to actually be able to make money off of the babies before they really do start getting really big and start attacking you and shit and becoming dangerous. So, what do you think that the more, like, if you know how greed and how money corrupts because they want to make as much money as possible. They're going to breed them and get a shit ton of babies. Every month they need another set of babies because the babies get too big, then they can't do it. So they're having them breed and breed and breed. So then they wind up with a boatload, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these giant adults. The adults are like $30,000 a month just to feed them in meat, in raw meat to feed them. So if you had hundreds of them and you're going to have a year later if you want to keep sustaining the baby petting operation and drive the people there with these babies, you're going to have to breed more, and it's going to make more adults. So every month you got, what, 50 adults? 50 more, 50 more. Each of them are, let's say 50 of them is going to be like $500,000 to feed or whatever. It's going to cost more money. So what do you think they do? They end up keeping them until they're about 8 weeks old and euthanizing them, breeding, keeping them until they're old, euthanizing, and then continuing the cycle. Because if you could just have a perma baby tiger, then you could make millions off of it. And it's not even a joke. Not even a joke. You really can't make your money back, though, because you need a bunch of babies. You need them constantly there. And that's exactly what one of Joe's friends, Doc Antle, or whatever his name is, he's accused of cremating, breeding them, getting the babies, attracting people to pay hundreds of dollars to sit and pet the babies and have them at weddings and birthday parties and all this, thousands for birthday parties and stuff like that. Babies get bigger. Instead of feeding them, paying all this money and give them all this space, they euthanize them, make more babies. Right? It's going to happen. No matter what you do, it's going to happen because nefarious people are going to want to make that money. And that's exactly what happened. But anyway, we're going to get into the murder.
But for over quite a few years, he made it his mission to destroy Carol and her organization.
Today we're taking a trip down to Tampa, Florida to the lovely Big Cat Rescue. They're in Tampa, Florida.
Permink needs to tag Tiger King in this video. We need to let him know. If he just tags Tiger King in this video, he will freaking get millions of views on this thing.
With CEO Carol Baskin. Yep, that lady that profits over $1.5 million sucking on your heartstrings.
Good point, Torrance,
about
yeah.
shit on the internet that ain't even true. Why would you give to a facility to rescue animals to live in luxurious cages? Well, how about that one? That mountain lion sticking his head through a hole in the fence in order to...
This is a lie. They put the water there so that, you know, it doesn't get spilled. It doesn't get all wet where the animal is. And the animal can walk right out of there and go out into a big area. So he's just cherry picking
drink out of an algae-filled water bowl.
He released countless videos trying to expose Carol as a liar who was secretly taking all the donation money for herself. He released a full investigation video looking into every aspect of her life from when she was 15 until now, which at one point he claims she might have killed her rich husband.
In the summer of 1996.
Here we go. Let's hear what Permink has to say on this, because this is exactly what we're talking about.
Carol Baskin and husband Don's marriage was beginning to fail. Don told his secretary he wanted out. On June 12, 1997, Don Lewis filed for a protection order against Carol, citing that she had thrown him out of the house.
We have all of these documents.
Threatened to kill him and had a .357 pistol, as well as taken away his .45 caliber handgun. At about the same time, Carol commented to one of her co-workers she had wished that Don would go back to his ranch in Costa Rica and never return. Coincidentally, just 2 months later, Jack Don Lewis came up missing. His $5 million fortune was left behind. No trace of the man was ever found.
And she changed his will so that she could keep the money instead of the kids.
It seems Carol Baskin had, in hand, at the time of husband Don vanished, a power of attorney supposedly signed by him a year before, giving complete control of his money and the exotic park in the event of not just his death, but his disappearance.
Now, the death or disappearance. It's so strange because that's not how these work. They never put in disappearance into these papers, but his had the word disappearance put into it right there. Right there, squared up. Look right there. In the, by any disability or disappearance of the principal except as provided by something and shall be blah, blah, blah. This is never listed. Disappearance is never listed in these kind of papers. It's just ridiculous. But because of how, you know how these types of issues affect people, they don't think correctly. She added it in because she thought it might help her get the money sooner. She had to wait 5 years to get that money because you have to wait 5 years to file a death certificate on a disappeared person, right?
Disappearance.
I'm going to be honest, Carol. This is a bit fishy.
It's really fishy.
Allegedly, your husband signs a protection order against you, and 2 months later, he is missing, and you have a signed paper saying you get to keep his money. And instead
of his children. This is weird. You already were going to get 10%, but you needed to forge these papers so that you could get 90% and so that the kids could get. She was at least not super criminally. I've seen cases where people do fake these kind of papers or try to screw kids out of money, and they will just give the kids 0. She did give the kids a, what's it called? You know, like the account they can have, so when they turn 18, it sits there and gains interest until they turn 18. You get what I'm saying? She did give the kids each one of those. So in reality, whereas she was going to get 10%, the kids were going to get 90% of his estate if he died. It got flipped by these mysterious papers that come out of nowhere right when he disappears. It gets flipped, so she gets 90 and the kids get 10. Now, he had told his kids and everybody he knew, and his lawyer, and all the people around him, that he was giving the kids 90. He had told them all. So why all of a sudden why didn't he tell everybody that he'd changed it? Why didn't he at least tell his attorney he changed it? You get me? She, in my opinion, based on what we have now, subject to change in the future if evidence comes up, I am at the point where I think Carol did it and changed the papers so she could get his money because he was leaving her. I think the restraining order, the threats of death, where Carol threatened to kill him several times, his insane disappearance, the Carol's behavior around the disappearance, it all leads, every one of these things lead to this. Now, rich people whose brothers happen to be at a very high position in the police office that's investigating the situation, they can get away with this kind of stuff. And I do kind of think that's what happened.
And the paper saying you get his money specifically uses the word disappearance. And on top of that, later, someone allegedly comes forward and says they never saw your husband sign that paper. That's a bit fishy, Carol. I'm not gonna lie. Also,
she forged that shit.
So when Big Cat Rescue was on the brink of shutting down because of low funding, Carol conveniently marries another seemingly rich man just a couple weeks before they were out of money.
Which meant there was about 2 weeks between the money running out, the food running out, and the cats were going to begin starving. Then I met Howie on November 1st, 2002, right as those last 2 weeks were closing in on me and the cats.
Howie is a character. He cray-cray. Howie be cray-cray. He's so cray-cray, he rich and he couldn't get a girlfriend. But luckily, he met her.
This picture was 2 years later at our wedding. As you can see,
As you can see, Howie has a crazy face. Now, Howie, none against you, my dude. I don't think you're going to watch this video, but there are so many weird circumstances around this story. In the rare event that you do see this video, because of the weird circumstances that happen in this story, all probabilities are flipped in this story. I'm not kidding. If you see this, you could come talk on my show like some of the other members of the cast are and get your story out there and defend your wife, Howie. You could defend her through UNIRock. I'll let you say anything you want, my dude. Free speech here at UNIRock. Now, your speech ain't free. I'm going to try to make a couple bucks off the video. I'm going to try to run ads and stuff. But you do have free speech, you know.
Multi-talented.
I'm just saying.
So I'm going to let him take it from here.
Carol, I'm not making any claims or accusations. This is all allegedly. I'm not trying to get sued. This could all be a coincidence. But if your new husband goes missing, I'm calling the cops.
Oh, yeah, me too. Howie, we got your back, bro. And we know you're crazy. We know you like to sing some weird songs. And we know you like following her around like you're stuck up her ass. But still, if you disappear, we got your back, bro. We be fighting for you.
So Joe continues to try to expose Carol, and at one point, he even wrote a song that features a woman who looks exactly like Carol. And in this video, this woman feeds her tigers the remains of her husband she got rid of for his money.
Yeah, this is one of his songs, dude. You gotta watch the Tiger King, bro. You won't believe this shit. It's so good.
Oh, here, kitty, kitty.
Here, kitty,
Mama's
kitty.
got some treats for you.
Why do people watch
It's my
TV?
husband.
This stuff is so much better. I'm telling you guys. The feud goes back and forth for years and years. There's so much stuff to it that we would be here all day if I tried to explain it all. In 2013, Big Cat Rescue won a judgment of $1 million against Joe for copyright infringement because he was using their logo at his shows. A video then surfaced of Joe shooting a doll that looked like Carol while threatening Carol.
That is how sick and tired of this shit I am.
What?
That's scary, Joe Exotic. That's exotically scary. That's scary, Joe.
What is going on? This whole situation got pretty insane, but it reached a whole new level when in 2017, Joe tried to find someone to take out Carol permanently. He started reaching out to a few different people and friends to get the deed done. Also,
now this is where Pramik's video is good. It's great. But the documentary actually has everything recorded. It's got the shit. It's got the recordings of what happened because Joe recorded everything. He recorded himself weed whacking the fucking yard in the morning. I'm not playing. He recorded everything, dude. I don't know how he did it.
Fourth sheriff to now have this case. Take us through it. Where are we right now
Ben Shapiro's older brother. Shut up and let him talk.
with the case?
Right now, it's a cold case, and what I mean by that is there's no active leads. The last thing we've done with this case, I should say the last two things, was in 2010 when we wanted to get the DNA from Don Lewis's children. We did that. We entered that into a database, hoping that if Don Lewis's body is recovered, we're able to make the connection back to us. We have fingerprints. He had been arrested a couple times. We have dental records, but the one thing missing and wasn't utilized as much back in 1997 was DNA, so we added that. Fast forward a year later in 2011, our investigators reached out to Carol and asked her to come in for a polygraph test. She respectfully declined, said that her attorney instructed her not to do it, that it wouldn't vindicate her, and it wouldn't prohibit the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office from pursuing criminal charges in the future if we deemed appropriate.
So you're sitting on the couch with your family watching this series over the weekend. You're in a unique position as the sheriff of Hillsborough County now. Did you sit there and scratch your head and say, "Wow, we gotta relook at this case"?
Well, in some cases we did. There's in some instances we did, I should say. I looked back and I looked at, they talked about the meat grinder and that the meat grinders were used to feed the cats.
Definitely.
And people suspect that's the way it happened. And that's why we will never locate him. Well, the meat grinders had been removed from the property, several weeks before his disappearance. I'm not saying they couldn't have been involved, but they weren't on the property. You heard about the septic tank, check the septic tank. Well, the septic tank that Carol put in wasn't installed until several years after. But then you look and like you sitting there watching the series, when you look at the fact that this wealthy individual left his wealth behind, left his money behind.
You don't ever do that. No, he got murdered.
In all your years of reporting that you've ever heard someone leaving without their wealth behind.
No, he's going to liquidate everything and take a suitcase full of cash and go do what he wants to do. Plus, he didn't need to. He didn't have to liquidate shit. He literally could have just went to the bank and got a credit card, locked her ass off of it, and been rich to do anything he wanted. There's no way this dude killed himself. There's no way this dude just ran away. No, bro. He wouldn't have left his money sit. If he can't get to his money, what's he doing? What's he doing out there? He disappeared, Carol. He's not dead. You didn't kill him. What's he doing out there? How's he eat? How's he sleep? He doesn't need none of that millions and millions of dollars. Really?
And the same thing in law enforcement. In my 28 years experience, I've never had a missing persons case where someone left their entire wealth behind.
No.
Along the same lines, they touch on the series, watching it, and they talk about the will.
Right.
Who has ever, and I've talked to some of my friends that are probate attorneys, who has ever seen a will where there's a provision in there?
In disappearances.
If I ever disappear or become missing, leave the bulk of my wealth to this person.
So bizarre.
No, it's bro, if I want to go missing for a couple weeks and not tell somebody where I'm at, I'm allowed to, and I'll do what I want with my money. It's no fucking way, bro.
Bizarre. Is Carol Baskin a suspect right now?
She isn't. She isn't even a person of interest at this point. We have no.
This is why you guys suck. This is why. She should at least be, due to the fact that she's the damn wife. Because of the restraining order, because of the death threats, because of the other issues. She should be a POI, my dude. She don't have to be like, you know, more of a suspect than anybody else, other than the fact of she's the wife. Yeah, she should be a person of interest.
No evidence to deem her or anyone else equally as important as a suspect in this case. And I'm hoping that the popularity of this Netflix series will change that.
So tell us about the tips that you've gotten. Have tips been coming in every day? Have any been legitimate, good, something you'd follow up on?
We've been receiving, on average, the last 6 days, about 6 tips a day, either telephone calls or emails, but no viable tips yet. Most are like you and I. They watch the show and they believe who did it and how he died, and they want to share that with us. And I'm certainly not discouraging anybody from sending anything. And listen, send it all in. We have a detective supervisor who's assigned to the case. We'll comb through it. And again, anything that's viable, we're going to pursue to the end of earth to try to bring some closure to Mr. Lewis's family and bring some justice.
You know, there is, to your point, there's so much, I don't know, circumstantial evidence in this case, even down to his van being left at that small airport with his keys in the van.
His van was found at a very little airport with the keys left in it. It's almost like you had killed somebody and you're literally like contemplating whether you're going to go to hell or not, and you're all panicking like, is there a God? Did I just kill somebody? Did I just ruin my eternal existence by committing one of the primordial sins here? And then you're panicked out to the point where you're like, I know, if we drive his van to an airport and leave the keys inside of it in the ignition and walk away, it'll make it look like we didn't do it. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It almost shows that the dude was killed.
Van and his briefcase in there. What businessman would travel somewhere without their briefcase? A lot of twists, a lot of turns, but I think it does seem like something did happen to Don Lewis. Have you spoken with
No, Don Lewis died. He was murdered, my dude. All right? Let's say Don Lewis was going to go out on a flight. He would have let somebody know. He's not going to jump in a damn plane and steal an unmarked, unregistered plane and go fly out in the damn thing knowing he could crash and die, right? He's not going to do that, my dude. He definitely would have said something to somebody if he was just taking a flight, going to Costa Rica. You know, it's so abnormal. Like, yes, this is very troublesome. It's very troublesome, the whole story.
The lead detective that was on the case, John Marciano, who was on it in 1997, and he was the head of kind of the Hillsborough County Missing Persons at that time. Has he weighed in on this at all? Anything changed there?
I have not. I personally haven't contacted him. But you bring up the airport, and one of the things that wasn't covered, yes, we recovered his car at one of the private airports, but we pulled all the passenger manifest. He wasn't on any type of plane, commercial or private, that left the country.
And we know from Carol that he left at like 3 a.m. that night or whatever, right?
More importantly, he had 2 passports. Neither one of his 2 passports were flagged as leaving the country during this time period either. We also, John Marciano at the time, and another detective flew down to Costa Rica. No one down there had seen him in several months prior to his disappearance.
Since the last time he went. So they knew when he was there.
What do you think happened to Don Lewis?
He got killed by his ex-wife for the money. By his wife.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I certainly have my suspicions like anyone else. Do I believe he's been killed, that he's dead? Yes, I do. Do I know who did it and how he died? That I don't know. And I'm hoping that we will get that missing interview, that missing piece of evidence to solve this case.
With a cold case, when does it come to the point where you would reapproach somebody like maybe Carol Baskin or even Don's ex-wife Gladys and his daughters? When does that step get taken?
We will revisit and re-interview anytime that we're provided some type of missing information, some type of lead that would warrant us contacting these individuals again.
The public seems pretty convinced, and we've seen this with cases like this before. The public at least seems somewhat convinced that Carol should be at least considered a suspect.
Yes.
There was something in the series that was interesting that I looked into. It did seem like Don tried to file a restraining order against Carol
Yeah.
about 2 months before he actually died or went missing in August of '97. He filed it in June. It was
97 was such a good year. Such a good year. You just got to trust me on that. It was a good year.
It was not withheld, but could that be considered something that could be a motive, a pending divorce or something like that in a relationship? What usually happens in these cases in your experience?
Well, there's a lot of reasons that end up becoming motives. We were told that by his office manager back then when we interviewed her, but we weren't able to track it down. We weren't able ever to find through the court system that there was anything filed. So that didn't become a viable lead back then either. You know, I have to tell you, as complicated and as eccentric all these individuals were in this Tiger King documentary, his life was no different. And I think that's what became such an obstacle in solving this case.
So you're the fourth sheriff now to have this case since 1997. You think that you'll be the sheriff to finally bring justice to Don Lewis's family?
I sure hope so. I hope there would nothing that would be more gratifying than be the sheriff to say that after 23 years, my administration is responsible for solving the missing case or homicide.
Cold case files are so insane, dude. If you don't watch the show Cold Case Files, it's an old show from the 90s and 2000s, maybe the 80s. It might go back that far, but if you don't watch Cold Case Files, you need to watch every one of them. It is so that it's such valuable information to see how some person's life can end and 30 years later they can get justice over the tiniest thing. It can be something like a damn key or a shoestring or a piece of dirt can bring justice after all those years. It's so nuts, dude.
Homicide of Don Lewis.
And have you guys been in touch with Carol at all since the series dropped on Netflix?
We haven't. We haven't been in touch with Carol at all. I did ask our investigators again to reach out to Don Lewis's family just to make sure that if they hadn't seen that the show had ever increasingly becoming popular, that if they heard something, to make sure they passed it on to them, and they may deem a detail or an encounter or someone sending them something as some type of insignificant detail. But for us, it could be something that's tremendous or that missing piece of the puzzle we've been waiting for.
Just like we do in my Discord investigations, and they get crazy.
So we are reaching out to them to ask them, hey, if you hear...
Exactly, Amy. Exactly.
Something, if someone contacts you, any type of communication, please forward it to us.
Then I want to get that number out there, too. People can call 813-247-8200. Sheriff Chronister, that tweet went absolutely everywhere. The series has been everywhere. You know, we're all social distancing. We're all home. So everybody's watching the series. If you can tell us, what's the wildest tip that somebody's phoned in?
Ooh, I tell you what, we've gotten everything. You know, from meat grinders to him being killed by his both business associates over in Costa Rica. I don't know if I can deem anything more wild than the other, and it's only because all of them live such an eccentric lifestyle that I think to the normal person, all of us would believe that every lead would be a wild one.
I mean, can you believe this stuff?
It's
if Don Lewis was still alive,
one.
he'd be 81 years old. So you think that he was murdered? He didn't just disappear to Costa
Yeah, he was murdered, my dude. I'm sorry. Yeah, we all know that.
Rica or somewhere. Is that safe in assuming?
I believe, and this is just my humble opinion, I believe that he was murdered. And I think that's why a judge 5 years after his disappearance deemed him as a deceased person as well.
Yeah.
All right, Sheriff Chronister, thanks so much for your time. Good luck with this. Please keep us posted.
Definitely. It's so crazy, you guys. This story, this disappearance is at the backbone of this entire story with the Tiger King. To see how this all links together. It's not just the only death. It's not the only murder. It's not the only suicide that's involved in the Tiger King. There are people that get their arms bitten off by tigers. There are people that I just can't describe to you how insane it is. It's like it's dynamite. It is literally dynamite. Ghost Box interview EVP. You've got to be kidding me.
Hello there, YouTubers. My name's Charlie Chittenden. It is Sunday, the 29th of March, 2020, and I'm now going to conduct a ghost box session with the intention of attempting to communicate with the spirit of the missing American Don Lewis. I'm also offering private ghost box sessions if you would like me to attempt to communicate with one of your deceased loved ones or friends. These are available by clicking on the link in the description.
Will you do a video trying to get a hold of Kobe Bryant for me, my dude, since you can do this, since this works? And can you ask him if J Station actually got a hold of him after he died, or if it didn't work? If J Station lying about contacting Kobe, or was J Station being honest? Can you contact Kobe and ask him if J Station was honest?
Description below, or by searching for my name on eBay. So with that being said,
Shopaholic 11. It is the most insane. I don't want to stop it. I've already finished it. I'm going to rewatch it. It's that good. And I love murder mysteries, though. And I've had a couple of YouTube channels throughout my time on YouTube. Murder mysteries have always been something that if I get a good one come across the desk, it's going to go into a video or a live stream. I'm going to talk about it at least a little bit. And this one is, I'm going to go so hardcore into this in a documentary form because, you know, I have this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach that we are going to figure out something about the disappearance of this man because of this documentary, okay? And let me tell you why. Because if you do look at the documentary, thanks to, even if it was for selfish reasons, Joe decided to finally start to try to take down some of the other people out there that are abusing these cats. So it's almost like karma did a full circle. Joe started out when he was young, loving the cats, but then because of money went back, and then once he got locked in prison and felt what it was like to be locked in this cage, he said to himself, I'm going to take this whole thing down. That type of karmatic loop. It's so weird that it happened here. Like, you wouldn't have expected Joe to have that kind of breakthrough and then say to himself, and whether it was vengeance, whether it was because he himself wanted to screw over those that screwed over himself, or if whatever reason it was, I think something else is. I don't think Joe's going to be the only one because Carol made a lot of mistakes in this too. Carol knew that she had hypocritically done and was still doing a lot of the same things that Joe did while she was trying to instigate a mass of people to go and try to tear down Joe. So she was fighting him just as hard as he was fighting her, and it was just a big irresponsible shit show. So I do think that if Joe's going to have that karmatic loop come back and he's going to get what he deserves for what he did to those animals or what he did in his life, and he has to sit behind bars and he can himself, you know, try to keep that karma wheel going, I do think that Carol's going to face it too. Is that her name, Carol? Am I saying that right? Yeah. Carol Baskets. I call her Carol Baskets. I know it's Baskins.
She'll turn on the PSB7 here, which is one of the most popular and most effective.
Oh my God, bro. I hate these kind of YouTube videos.
Don Lewis, if you have tragically been murdered, can you please tell us the precise location of your physical remains?
Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. All right, guys, it is 1:20 in the morning. I'm sorry I didn't get streaming till late, but I didn't get going till late because we've been setting up interviews. We've been setting up future videos. We've been getting in touch with people that can help us get more information. We've got people that are close to some of these zoos. We've got an interview set up with one of the, I would say, a very important cast member, a cast member that's through the entire thing. We are communicating with them. They have agreed to come on the show. They're very cool, very kind. I can't wait to sit down and talk to them. It's going to be a little bit of starstruckedness going on because I love this show. This is what I love about being a YouTuber. It's when something really cool happens, and then we all have the ability to kind of come together and put all of our brain power together to see if there's any tiny thing out there that either is being overlooked or if there's any little thing that we can do to be able to learn more about these awesome things that are out there. And I cannot believe I'm going to be interviewing one of the cast members of Tiger King in the next couple weeks. I can't believe it. I think it'll be next week, though I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to let it go completely natural. I'm not going to try to rush it in. So either way, though, what I have coming up, let me tell you what I've got coming up in relation to all of this so that you, if you want to help with any part of this, you'll be able to pitch in. Let me tell you how it works, how we do it, and what we've got in store for you. And it's all free here at UNIRock. All you got to do is do me a solid, subscribe to this channel, the rockAlot, and subscribe to my channel, UNIRock2. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's UNIRockTV out there on all those platforms. But just at least subscribe here on YouTube, and you'll be supporting us and clicking the videos and leaving comments, and you're good to go. Let me tell you what we got going on, because I have to get to work. I got to go to bed so I can get to work. So let's do it, because this is creepy.
Borderline zone, domestic terrorism. They're not going to help. This is just a marketing scheme. Way that the Humane Society. Where are you looking?
All right, so here's what we got. We've been doing these kind of stories for years. We've got a Discord server with a bunch of people in it. They help us out. I know people that are in Florida, that are in Oklahoma, that are in the Carolinas who can help us get some information together. We've got already communicated, like I said, with a cast member. They're going to be coming on for an interview, and we're hoping to get many of the cast members on for interviews on UNIRock2, okay? And if you have any information, you can email me at UNIRocktv@gmail.com. I will be checking the email. Please put Tiger King in the very front of the subject so that I know that it's about this. That way I'll read it first. I'm going to go through all of that every day when I first do it. When I first get into the email, I'm going to hit all those. So let's say you notice something. You see an article, you see an interview, and you hear a timestamp, and you think, damn, this is really important. Send it to me. Communicate it to me. Even if you don't hear from me, the majority of the time, I do get what you send me, okay? Also, if you want to join my Discord server, you know that you just got to keep an eye on the community tab of UNIRock2, because I put out invites on there all the time. And then once you join in, you just type your YouTube name, and then you can help us by submitting links and stuff without doing it through email. Being in Discord bypasses email to kind of make it quicker and easier. But we're going to be doing the Carol Baskins video. It's going to break down the whole thing, every single detail we can find. I have a boatload of video. Thanks to Carol Baskins being live streaming for all this time, there is more video than I know what to do with. But you'd say, well, UNIRock, you're not going to be able to watch all that video from Carol Baskins. Yeah, I will. Thanks to having all the people that help me. All the viewers that like helping out, we can just say, look, we're going to go through this video, you go through that video, and in an hour, we can knock out 100 videos. And we take timestamps, we get it all together. We're going to be able to do like a really great breakdown of this. And I'm hoping maybe we'll try to get a hold of the sheriff too. I don't know. We're going to see what we can do, though, to put together like the most comprehensive video to date that's out there about the Carol Baskins disappearance and the future issues of what's going on with this story. Also, there's this rumor out there that the guy who set up Joe, that they themselves are going to be facing charges. And seeing that Doc Atkins, you remember Doc, the guy that rode the elephant, is being his property got raided since this was recorded. Since the documentary was recorded, his property got raided, and the other things going on with the FBI involved. There's just going to be a lot of story to update as time goes on. So if you want all those updates, they'll be going to UNIRock2, okay? On top of all of our regular content that we normally do, and on top of us doing live streams at night over here on the rockAlot, where we either take a look at another story like we did tonight, or we play a video game, or we just sit around and talk to the live chat, regardless. So keep your eyes open. Make sure you turn in anything weird that you see, because it's the only way that I get all the data for the videos. So I just want to thank you guys. Keep your puke buckets close. You always want to keep your puke buckets close to your mom, my dude. Always. And we'll be live tomorrow night. I'll announce the time and date of the interview Monday. I think it'll either be Monday or Tuesday on my community tab. So, guys, thanks for watching. I would play a video game right now and chill with you for a little bit, but I got work to do, so we got to go. Thanks for being here, y'all. I appreciate you. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.
In Oklahoma.
You will have to contact your local humane society.
Isn't that you all?
No, we are not affiliated with the other humane societies.
So you don't pick up animals anywhere?
Oh, wait, stop, busy. Don't, shut up, dude. Don't turn off the stream. We've got a video that just came in right before I started. It has to do with Airsoft Fatty. We've got an update to the Airsoft Fatty story. Hold on. So for those of you that don't know, there's a YouTuber named Airsoft Fatty. He's got 400,000 or 500,000 subscribers, and he lost access to his YouTube channel recently, and we've been covering the story. This is an update to that story. Thank you. I can't have a good stream without you guys, so thank you. Okay, as more info on this relation... Wait, did I miss one? Recent weeks, the nature of behind-the-scenes relationship Airsoft Fatty has with his new manager, Josh, came to light. More info came to light. Many detractors from Airsoft Fatty's real-life friends and online circles have been speaking out. One of said detractors has been kind enough to provide me with a recording of the events leading up to the time when Airsoft Fatty was walking up the highway because he was angry at Josh. This is on the 12th.
Guarantee that. I just, like, from a standpoint of effort and everything, like, we put a lot of time into helping you, and it's just that we don't want you to revert back to where you were, because your fans don't hear you. I know. I'm just trying to tell you what to tell him. I can't repeat that as you're saying.
Why do they keep telling Fatty that they don't want him to go back to what he used to do? What he used to do got him all the hundreds of thousands of subs.
Yeah.
Let him. Alright. I'm gonna smoke my bowl, and then I'm gonna get back to work at 1:30
So Josh said, I'm going to smoke my bowl and I'm going to get back to work.
on my fucking lunch break like I was supposed to. You ruined my whole lunch.
He's telling this guy, you've ruined my whole lunch.
Ruined my whole day.
Oh, he's talking to Fatty. Okay. You've ruined my whole day.
You ruined my whole life. Oh, I ruined your whole life?
Fatty says, Josh, you've ruined my whole life.
Are you fucking kidding me? I fucking got you an apartment, and I've done everything for you.
I've got you an apartment, I've done everything for you, Josh says to Fatty.
Why do you have that money, you piece of shit? Because I make content.
Josh is saying that Fatty's content doesn't make him the money. We know he does.
Are you fucking kidding me?
This Josh guy acts like a 12-year-old that got mad that he got grounded.
This doesn't work. I just said that I'm smoking my damn bowl and I'll be at work at 1:30. I just said that to you, fucking idiot. This is on the phone and you just heard me say it, you dumbass. You said on that phone.
I don't hear Fatty calling you a bunch of names.
I don't care. You're going to be alone after this. You are going to be alone. No.
You're gonna be alone. He is manipulating Fatty.
No one wants to help you. You fucking suck to every...
Oh my God. Oh my fucking God, bro. Wow. Wow. Michael, hey, behind the scenes. You know it, my guy. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Josh is a spoiled little brat that needs to take a long walk off a short pier, says Wade. Wow, Josh is so abusive. Never need for name calling. Tornado says, what a dick. Busy's crack pipe says, so what point does somebody take a... Oh, I can't say that one. This is crazy. Josh is so mean to Fatty, And then with all the combined stuff about him losing access to his YouTube channel, bro, like, no. Josh, you cannot blame us for wanting to help Fatty and being worried about him. Look at what keeps coming out, my dude. This is not how you act as an adult. You resolve these issues as a teenager. You don't treat people like this as a person in your 20s, my dude. Yeah, you can have, usually if you get in fights like this, it's with your girlfriend or something, and it's rare. You get me? When it starts happening all the time, you got to reevaluate your life, my dude. You can only be the one that stops this shit. No one else can. But I didn't mean to do it. I was mad. Yeah, you did mean to do it. You are letting the anger take control of you. You are acting this way, even if you don't realize it. That's the step to actually getting like your life together, getting your head together, is where when you feel yourself getting mad or getting to a point where you start screaming like this at other people, you slow yourself down and stop yourself. You stop playing the victim all the time. You take control. No, it's not their fault. It's not Fatty's fault that he called you. It's your damn fault for answering the phone. Call him back when you want to, man. Take it slow. Do your thing. So bad, dude. No, you guys are correct, even though I can't read it. You are correct. Oh my God, you're right. I've been meaning to play Tarkov with you, Busy, man. Look, tomorrow, Busy, remind me. Hit me up. Tell me. Uni, let's run some Tarkov. I don't even care if I'm doing a video. If I'm doing some video work, I can take a break for 20 minutes and run some rounds. Remind me tomorrow, because, yeah, I would love to play some Tarkov, honestly, or some Doom or something, but tomorrow, we'll get it, my dude. I honestly have to get some stuff done, though, right now, or I'd stay up later. Don't forget, I will tag you, my dude. Tomorrow it's on like Donkey Kong. And I have to do it because I want to play some Tarkov, bro. I need to log in anyway and get my... Did I die? I didn't die last time I played. I won't have any insurance. All right, guys. I'm not going to run an outro. I just want to say something real quick. Thank you. I love you. Please make sure the bell is rung on UNIRock2 and over here. Notifications have been acting funky, though. It's starting to get fixed. YouTube did do something to my channel. Remember when I told you I wrote YouTube and I thought they had fixed my channel or helped my channel in some way? And then yesterday I had some issues live streaming. YouTube did something to my channel to try to fix it. I did have an issue, and YouTube, you know, they did whatever it is they do. I don't know what they did. And if I wanted to talk about really miserable, nasty boomer kind of people out there, I could update you with some stuff tonight. I don't even care. Their stuff is so weak and so lame. I don't even care. Maybe we'll update you later on if something happens, because wow, has their whole world, their whole life just fallen apart in front of their own eyes. It's one of those things where I can just look at it and laugh, saying to myself, you get what you deserve. If you're gonna hurt a bunch of animals and flip out, you might just end up in prison. But if you're going to try to steal stuff online, you might just end up miserable for the rest of your life, right? Hey, Michael. No, thank you, my guy. Tomorrow, y'all. And any of you guys that play Tarkov, hit me up tomorrow. Busy. Me and you. And who else got Tarkov? Thomas. Whoever got Tarkov. Tomorrow, we're going to do a run. Just when you see me tag everybody in Discord, remind me and we'll get in there. Thank you, guys. I'm outie. I'm UNIRock. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment or share. Even if you want to do a super chat like Michael, liking, ringing that bell, subscribing to my two channels, it supports us more than I could ever say. Thank you.